So this is day number 9, which is about what to actually use your email list for, or what to send out to subscribers. We want to start with something called an autoresponder sequence, or like a welcome sequence. So when people join your funnel, you don't just want to be sending them promotions right away. That thing I talked about building trust over time. I have sort of a 12-point email autoresponder sequence that I'll walk you through, and then I'll link to down below so that you can find it yourself. It goes into a lot greater detail. And the idea is you don't really know what to say, when you're building your autoresponder sequence. So this is sort of a template that you can use. And it kind of involves, sometimes you talk about your book or your project or your workspace. Sometimes it's a vulnerable share or an anecdote or a backstory. Maybe you're just talking about stuff in the fandom, like things that you like, that they like, shared appreciation for things that are related to your topic genre. So I'm going to link to that down below. It's pretty long to get into. Sorry, I'm reaching over for my notes. So real quick, a welcome series might look like, did you get the free book? Just checking in, maybe sharing some reviews of the book, a surprise bonus, a personal anecdote, or your favorite books, geeking out over something you love, an excerpt or a work in progress of something that you're working on that you might launch later, and then maybe a giveaway or a call to action. So this is like a 7-point thing that you could set up so that when people, especially if they sign up for the free stuff, if you have a free book you're giving away, if you have a giveaway and they signed up to win something in the giveaway, you can't necessarily just put them on your email list because they didn't sign up for that unless you were very clear about what they should expect. And you probably shouldn't even promote your book or your book launch to people who signed up for a free book. You have to warm them up and provide value first before you ask for the sale. So that's sort of like a 7-step process. There's also an argument about how often you should email. You could send those, every day for 7 days, but a lot of people would unsubscribe. Or you could spread them out, twice a week. I think is not a terrible place. It's a weird balance, but you want to show up enough that they notice you, and you don't want to show up so much and so quickly that they get overwhelmed and they just unsubscribe. You kind of want to keep showing up slowly. But you also don't want them to just ignore you forever, because you're paying for people to be on your email list, depending on the email list provider you're using. And you don't want, like me, I get 100,000 people that I'm paying for, and only 20 or 30,000 are opening my emails. So if people don't open my emails long enough, I have to take them off, because even though it's too bad to remove people from your list, if they're not engaged, if they're not opening anything, at some point you need them to make a decision. At some point you need to push them enough so that they decide, do they want to keep getting emails from you or not. And you can even send a re-engagement email campaign, which is if you segment your list to the people who haven't opened anything for a long time or haven't clicked anything for a long time, you can say, it's not you, it's me. I hate to do this, but it looks like you haven't opened my emails. Please let me know if you want to stay subscribed. Otherwise, I'm going to unsubscribe you. It's just kind of a way to try to get them back on board. Or you can, eventually when it's time to market your book, you can just market your book and be sort of unapologetic. That's difficult for me because I'm a sensitive introvert, but you have to be okay with getting people annoyed at you for promoting your book, because that's sort of the reason you're building the email list ultimately, is so that you have people who might be interested in buying it when you launch. When you're actually going to launch a book for real, then I have a different sequence I would use that looks something like the cover reveal or the premise, personal story or motivation, early reviews, excerpts, reviews of similar best books in the genre, the sale price of the bonuses, the launch price, the last chance, thanks for the reviews, celebrate success. It's called a launch sequence. And the weird thing about launch sequences is that you can't just say my book is available. One time talking about your book is not enough times. You should do it. I do it 2 or 3 times. You really should do it 7 or 8 times, because this is the thing that your list is for. The rest of the time you want to be providing value, but when you have a real launch, you want to send out about 7 emails, because that's the opportunity to try to get people to take action. And there's a theory and a system behind doing a launch, whether it's a book launch or a course launch, where just when you announce it and you say, it's available now, that's not enough. You need to give them scarcity. You need to give them reasons to buy now as opposed to buying later. But you also want to give them a closing door. This is the bonuses are going away, the sale price is going back up. I'm not going to talk about this for a while. It depends on what kind of thing you're launching. It doesn't always work for books, although I've seen people launch nonfiction books this way. For fiction books, it might be a little bit different, but there should be some reason why they should buy now and not buy later. The most clicks you're going to get and the most purchases you're going to get are probably when the deal ends. So not when you announce it, not when the deal is open, but when the card is closing, when the deal is going away, when this particular offer is not going to be offered in the same way again. People are much more motivated by fear of missing out than they are by just availability. Availability of a book is not enough of a reason to buy the book unless, and this is also hugely important, your cover is dialed in, your blurbs, reviews are already there before you even launch the book. You've got to have reviews. It's weird because when you launch a book, like a big reason you have an email list is to get your ARC copy to the right audience so that you can get some reviews before you start getting into stuff like advertising, because then you're talking to a cold audience, and then it definitely matters, how good your cover is, how many reviews you have. So it's a little weird where you want some people to take you up on a free book or an ARC offer so you can get some reviews. I distinguish my list between, my real inner circle fans and then my bigger list of just giveaway seekers or freebie seekers who maybe they won't want an ARC, maybe they won't review the book, but maybe they'll still buy the book. So I've got two lists, and I didn't mention earlier the way to segment that is you've got one list for like free books or giveaways or the beginning of the funnel stuff where maybe they picked up the free book on Amazon, but they don't really know you. In that free book, in the beginning or the end, you could ask them to join your email list. But there's a big difference in people who will join from the beginning versus people, depending on what you offer. At the beginning of your free giveaway, for example, I could offer another bonus or a giveaway or something. This sounds confusing, but what I mean is if you're giving away a free book, for example, your KDP free days, you're giving out, I just did a BookBub campaign, so I give away a free book to like 10,000 people, but those people don't know me. I don't know how many of them will actually read the entire book. So I might have an offer or a giveaway at the beginning of that book. I should have done it since I had a BookBub. So since I got a lot of downloads, I should have had like a big giveaway at the beginning of that book when people first downloaded it to try to get them on my list as well. And then those would kind of be my freebie seeker email list that I could follow up with later. I would try to convert that freebie seeker list into a real supporters list by sending them to my other books and then having a different opt-in offer at the end of my books. So I know that the people who join my other list, my smaller list, they've actually read something. They finished a book, like they liked one of my books enough to actually finish the whole thing. And then they sign up to my email list to get notified of other books. They're not necessarily freebie seekers. They're potential real supporters because I know they've at least read one of my books. So I segment my books that way. I know I went through that really quickly. That was a welcome series and a book launch series. I'll link down below to a 12-point autoresponder series. And the other thing we're going to talk about in the next video is what to blog about, I think, because if you blog about certain topics, you can build your autoresponder series to link to those blog posts. So you're not only getting people on your email list, but you're building traffic to your blog by recommending your 5 or 10 blog posts to your email list. And if you choose the right topics, they're going to do the same things that you want your email list to be doing, which is establish your credibility, your professionalism, your trust, getting people to like you, which is sometimes even more important, by sharing value. And by value, I just mean if you write fiction, you want to show them that your fiction is good enough that other people are buying it, that other people are reviewing it, and that they should be. So this is just, selling your book, your covers, your blurbs. Give them a free chapter or at least a free sample. Sometimes when I send an email, I'll send the first, 1,000 words, couple thousand words of my book because I want to give them the content instead of having them, go buy the content. It's really difficult to sell a book where you haven't provided any of the writing quality. So, that's what Amazon has the look inside feature for, but not everyone's going to go to your book and look inside to check out whether or not you can write. If you just, send out, even like on my blog, I have a whole section on the first couple thousand words of all of my books so that people can just browse and vet the writing quality to see if they're interested. And most of my books are built in a way where if they read the first couple thousand words, they're probably going to they're going to want to read more of the story. So I try to give them that content, not the whole book, but a couple thousand words is enough to kind of get them invested in the story, and then try to sell the book from there. Anyway, I have a lot more to say on the subject, but I do have other resources where I go into this on greater detail. I'll link down below to those. Thanks, bye-bye.